I remember spending the entire summer really dissecting Kansas State. We did it as a staff. I think Coach challenged us before we had our break in June and July. You know, make sure that you're spending some time on Kansas State. Let's make sure that we come up with game plans because we're going to have this thing game plan before we start fall camp. And so I watch film constantly on their offense, and the players make offenses go. The scheme's phenomenal, but players make it go. And then we're watching film on Jake Waters at Iowa Western, and we're doing everything we can. And then we came back back to work like July 15th, and we took 2 weeks as if we were playing K-State and had it all mapped out by August 1st of what we wanted to do, because we knew that we had one shot. And this was not like we had beaten Kansas, we had beaten Minnesota, we had beaten Colorado State, but this was a different This was a different team. This was a phenomenal football team that coming off a Big 12 championship, and I think maybe that was a dedication to the stadium that day.
It was.
And so then we went through fall camp, and each day at fall camp we'd spend 10 minutes, 15 minutes on Kansas State up until we got to about 2 weeks out, and then we had everything laid out for it, and we knew we needed to play close to a perfect game. We really did, but we also thought we were going to be a lot more physical than some of the teams that we'd seen on film. And even though I know that nobody was going to overlook us because we'd won 2 national championships in a row, there's still an FCS team that ultimately will wear them down.
Right.
And I think just the opposite happened. I think we ultimately wore Kansas State down in that game with, there's a number of guys on that team that we had in 2013 that was undefeated that are still playing in the league right now. There's good football players. Obviously, K-State had good players as well. And we got down, I think, by a couple scores, and nobody panicked. And that was probably I think the big thing is we got down 2 scores, nobody panicked. We all of a sudden got one of them back, and all of a sudden I think maybe the panic flipped to the other sideline a little bit. And next thing you know, we just methodically found a way. And it was the hottest game I've ever been involved in. And I didn't play. I was just on the sideline coaching my tail off, and I was drenched. And I can imagine how those kids were. And I'll never forget, our biggest thing at pregame meal was hot chicken noodle soup. Get the salt in you. The biggest thing at halftime was keep eating a little bit more hot chicken noodle soup to try to keep the sodium levels in you. This is 2013. We'd never used to that. We were playing in 70-degree weather or inside in the Fargo Dome, and never had any hot games like that. And just everything kind of came together that day, and our guys had a big chip on their shoulder.